Welcome back to my RC life. Today we're going to continue with the Tekno MT-410 build series, part 2. Let's get building! Alright guys, so the Tekno MT-410 build is going great. We've got through a handful of these pages already. Very intricate truck. We are all the way to page 10. We finished page 10, bag F. We're starting on bag G today, which is starting on the front end and getting the A-arms and all that connected. Let's get to it. Alright, so we're getting into the first bag here. Look at those beefy A-arms. Yep, just setting up the anti-roll bar, exactly 30.2 millimeters spacing. With this truck, it's really nice to have power tools because you be doing a lot of hand turning of Allen wrenches. I was just showing you that is the front end. The pinion sits up at an angle on the front end, popping the ball ends in all of the link bars. A little bit of thread lock there. Got to really pay attention to which set screws and bolts need to thread lock. It's just a little indication on the page and you may miss it sometimes. Got that anti-roll bar in there. Getting the pin braces on there. Alright, the A-arms and everything are installed. Now I'm connecting the anti-roll bar to the A-arms. Getting everything just right. Now I'm going to start building the axle shafts. Now this is a little bit harder than the rear because you have steering components involved. Got to pre-grease things. Like I said in the last video, not only does it grease things up, but it helps hold pins in place while you're assembling everything. I'm just making sure I got the right C-hub on the right side and everything. And again, on this truck, it's got little set screws against every pin in this thing, so the pins don't come loose, and it's amazing how much thought they put into this kit. It's just so intricate. Don't forget that Loctite. Starting to assemble the axles and put them in the whole front end there. Got one side in, now we're going for the other side. Throwing in them set screws against those hinge pins so they don't turn and they don't loosen up. And some more set screws. Now we're doing the upper A-arms. showing the actual size of them. Now these A-arms, they have to go a certain way. You have to really pay attention in the instructions. You can't just swap them in one way or the other. And the ball ends that pop in to your A-arm ends, they have to go a certain way as well. Looks like we're on to the next bag here. Getting all my parts out and setting my magnetic tray. Thank you, Stan, for providing those to me. Those things are so handy when building a kit. We are on to building the steering rack. This was a little confusing, but it's, you know, just take your time. You can always disassemble things and go back, and if you did it wrong, go back and do it right. Get that Loctite. Doing a little bit of reading, make sure I'm getting it all right here. Like I said, this was a little bit confusing. There's my actual size again. Now these steering bars here, they were really technical. The ball ends on each side, they had to go the opposite way. And then the opposite way, and then the left arm was the opposite, exact 180 degrees opposite of that. So yeah, you got to really pay attention with this stuff. All right, we're getting those tie rods put on there. On to bag J, front bumper support, and top of the steering support, I do believe. Steering rack support, I guess I should say. Oh, we got the chassis out. Things are about to get real. Hooking those tie rods up to that front end. We're about to have a fully functional front end here. Really pay attention to your screw size. If you see these little parts on the side of each page, the screws, that's a 1-to-1 size of the screws. You can lay the screw right into that drawing of it, and it should be the exact width and length of the actual screw. Okay, we're bolting that front end of that chassis. Don't forget that Loctite. Did you see me pick that Loctite up? Oh, Loctite. More Loctite. I do believe I'm working on the servo saver right now. No, actually that was the center diff. Yes, that's what I was working on. Oh, look at that. It's like half a truck now. Lock tight, lock tight. Okay, let's get that rear end attached. Get that tiny little rear drive shaft in there. Oh yeah, look at that bad boy. Now I'm going through, just checking, making sure everything was pretty tight, because some of them you gotta leave loose. Okay, we're on to the next bag, the shock bag. There's a lot of different little bags inside of the shock bag here. Stacking all the O-rings and bushings and everything in there. Getting them in there just so. Get the cap on there. Gotta grease the ends of the shaft so when you push it through it don't tear the O-ring or anything. Alright, looks like we got both shocks built. I'm just looking at how it's saying to fill the shocks and stuff. I know how to do them, but I just want to see what they said. And they actually have you drill a 1/16 inch hole in the tops of these caps to vent them. It's got a nice little divot already in there so your drill can follow it and everything. As you put a couple little drops up in the top of the cap there too. And if you don't have one of those shock holder things, just sit your shocks right in your springs. See how I did there. Getting the air balls out of there, topping them off. Okay, getting the second cap on there. I wasn't happy with how that one went, so I tore the cap back off and tried again. I didn't like how it rebounded. And I put those shocks together and I forgot to put the adjuster screw deals on them, so I ended up having to take them back apart here in a minute. I actually put them on the truck, and then I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to put the adjusters on. Yep, they're on, but guess what? They're gonna have to come back off. Oh yeah, here we go. Back off. Put the caps on there, the adjustment things on there. Now we can go ahead and put them back on. I won't make that mistake twice though. I won't do that on the rear. Loctite. Okay, next bag, bag M. Same thing as bag L, just rear shocks instead of the front. And it's got a little bit different bracing for the shock tower too, the rear shock tower brace. And just a little plastic thing that goes over the aluminum brace itself. Just going through the steps and installing all the washers and bushings and Greasing the shafts so they don't tear up the rubber washers when I shove the shaft down to the shock itself. Now it does have you use 700 weight shock fluid, but I may change this. I do have a bunch of other shock fluids that I could change and change up depending on how the truck handles. We'll see. Bleeding the air bubbles out of there, setting them in the springs because I don't have a shock, one of those shock stands like a lot of the pros have. Okay, getting the bladders in there. I drilled the little holes in the caps already. Alright, get the old paper towel to take care of the mess as I'm bleeding them. I didn't forget those adjustment spring adjusters that time. I sent one of my subscribers a little sneak peek picture of the rear end, and he thought it was a short course truck. And now that I look at it, by looking at that rear bumper, that does look like a short course rear bumper. So yeah, you were right, Matt. Bolt those shocks up there. Looking good. Don't forget that Loctite. Man, I'm already in love with this truck. I cannot wait till it's done. Alright guys, we made it from bag F all the way up to bag M, where we fixed the rear shocks and the front shocks and everything onto the frame. Now there is a little bit left. It's going to be basically putting in the electronics, servo, motor, ESC, receiver, putting the tires on it, the body. So a little bit left to go. But here's what we got so far. Oh man, this thing is awesome, guys. I really like this unit. I like the whole platform. Everything just seems on point. I can't wait to run this truck. Yeah, this is supposed to be awesome, but we'll see. We'll see when I get it all set up. Look at the length of that little rear drive shaft. That thing is so little, boy. And the front one's long, obviously. But yeah, that thing is wide. That's a wide boy there. Look, I was thinking wide that sucker is. Alright, center to center on length is 13 inches. And then on width is 16. That's funny, man. That is stinking awesome. It's 3 inches wider than it is long. How epic. I can't wait to get this bad boy finished up, guys. But right now, my back is killing me from working on this truck. I've been here for hours on the time lapse. I know it don't seem that long on the time lapse, but it's a long time. It was, well, it was daylight out when I started. I think it was about 11 o'clock, maybe noon. And it's 7 now. So yeah, I've been here for a handful of hours. About 7 hours, I would say, for sure. But I'll see you guys tomorrow with a continued build on the Tekno MT-410. I'll see you then. Thanks for staying tuned along the process of the MT-410 build. See you later.